Guys, welcome back to the Wisdom Room. It's Maya, if you do not know, and this channel is to help you become healthy and whole in Jesus Christ. And today I have my friend Quiana on with me. I have a kind of an uncomfortable situation or testimony that I want to talk about, and I have asked Quiana to come on to interview me so that we can kind of get through everything.
It's my journey and your revelation. It's WisdomRoom TV.
So I'm going to allow my friend Quiana to introduce herself. Quiana, tell us about you.
Hi, guys. I'm excited to be in the Wisdom Room. I feel wise already.
Hey!
I feel like the wisdom has already dropped down from above. I already feel
Amen.
But no, I'm good. I appreciate you for having me here, for helping lead this conversation that you wanted to have. I think it's special. So I feel special you asking me to do it with you.
Yes, you guys, Quiana's my friend. I met her in Nashville when I was living in Nashville. She was a part of my small group and we went to church together. So she was at my house just about every week. And we had a lot of good, deep conversations about a lot of things, which really helped our relationship grow. And then when I moved to Dallas, we stayed in contact, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful relationship. This is my sister, and I love her very much.
She's stuck now, y'all. She's stuck. we're in this thing now, Maya. I don't know what to tell you, but buckle up.
We're here. We're here. The other reason I actually asked her to interview me is because she's also a really safe place for me to have this topic. So it'll allow me to be free so that you guys can get the full testimony versus kind of just like a half story.
Yeah.
So
we're going to give them the whole thing.
Give them the whole thing. So
yeah.
I'm ready to be open and honest and transparent. And it's actually something that I've been working on. One of the things that I've been talking about with my pastor is kind of the difference in honesty, transparency, and vulnerability. So I'm an honest person. So like if you ask me something, I'll tell you the truth.
Right.
And I've grown to be transparent where I'll just start kind of, even if you don't ask me, I can continue opening up and letting you know why something happened. Or like what something is. But vulnerability is something that I'm still like, I'm working on, because that's like the real raw, uncensored, unmanicured answer for me. So that's what I'm going to be practicing today is vulnerability. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you. And there's so many people, including myself, who are still practicing and constantly learning how to become more vulnerable or how to become, just more comfortable with that part of myself. Because I think sometimes the things that come out of your mouth, those initial reactions, you're shocked by who you are. Sometimes you don't know who you are. And you're just like, oh, that was the first thought that came to mind. Okay, that's telling. And so I just think that you are not on a journey alone. I'm sure so many people are going to take a lot from this conversation and just take a piece just from this moment, just admitting that, hey, I am going to be vulnerable. You're going to get the real rap raw. Okay?
That's
it's raw.
That's
so
what
no
you're gonna
anesthesia here. You're going to feel it all. All right. You want to get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right. So I loved that you wanted to talk about this just because, I'm a liberal Christian. I'm pretty open. I'm pretty accepting of all people, all things that come forth of life. I truly love everybody. And so one of the conflicts, that I have sometimes with being a Christian is really talking openly about sexuality. And I think that there's so many people who are uncomfortable talking about the one thing that we all do. We all are sexual beings.
All of us, true.
Every last one of us. Nobody can even help it. The dogs can even help themselves. But it's the truth. We're all sexual beings. And
that is true. That's a true thing. You made me think about this. show that I was watching, or this movie that I was watching, and this dog was humping this little duck. So
Yeah. It's
and
age.
continuously. Yeah. And it's
And they're not
funny.
taught.
They just
They're
do
not
it.
taught. They don't have ed classes. It's not taught. It's a natural instinct of a living being to procreate. And
Yeah.
so I thought that this was a good conversation to have with you. So I guess the first question that I wanted to have or had for you was, why do you think the topic of sexuality is so difficult to talk about in the Christian context?
I think because often, like, the only thing that's the conversation in church has been to be pure, don't have sex, don't do that. Um and I think because of that, we end up, I think, over sexualizing things for like kids.
Yeah.
Um and I was listening to the Love Hour podcast and thinking about how they were talking about, like, it's okay to talk to your kids about like their vagina, and
Yeah.
talk to your kids about like this is a part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And not even over sexualizing, like if you're changing a diaper for a baby and they touch their vagina, it's like, and somebody might say, no, don't do that, and it's like,
Why? It's
why are you making this such a, like, this large thing where, no, don't touch your vagina? It's like, well, what's wrong with me understanding that this is my vagina? This is what I learned is the vulva, the
fine.
outside of
Yeah.
the, because the
It's many
vagina
parts of the
it's
vagina.
a canal. But like, I think it's just because we don't have the conversation in church.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not quote unquote normal to talk about your body in church, other than saying, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
There's
You
not
know,
an open conversation.
I think that is not an open conversation too, like along to your point, where women are made to feel comfortable talking about their sexuality, because men and boys, their conversations happen often, them having
That's true.
kids, the last product of them, that action that happens. Nobody really speaks of what it is, but they just pop up with all these kids, but they not having sex, but we shouldn't be having sex, but how they get here. But anyway, women just aren't afforded a lot of opportunity to have a safe space to talk about their bodies, to talk about the
Yeah.
things that naturally happens within our bodies. Even I think about when I got my first period and we were hiding tampons and we were afraid to tell people that our period started, or we didn't want boys to figure out that we had periods. And I'm just like, what as an adult now, because before I felt terrible, but now as an adult, I'm just like, these things still haven't stopped coming every 3 weeks. And so why was I made to feel ostracized over something that, by all means, if I could control it, I would, but I can't.
But I can't. The funny thing is, I thought about that earlier today, and how I'm just like, why do we hide or want to be embarrassed about a cycle that comes every day? Or comes every month. Like, you get it every month. It's not like men don't know about it.
They know.
So
Because
they
they
know
stop.
about it. And why is it embarrassing for us to share that? Like,
Yeah.
and it is always kind of on a woman. Another thing that I was thinking about as you were speaking is the responsibility that women have had over their bodies and their sexuality, because men can't control their wandering or what they're
Right.
thinking. And it's been like, it's not my responsibility that my shoulder turns you on,
Right.
and that you over sexualize a shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shoulder,
Stop
player.
thinking about it so much, sir.
Like you the bare skin of a shoulder. Now you need to cover your shoulder up.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like conversations like that, where we've become embarrassed about our sexuality, or like, I need to cover up. And honestly, I think I've internalized a lot of that. Mine is partly that, but it's also partly like weight and image and
Yeah.
what a woman is supposed to look like. So I wear a lot of layers. And I've tried to like be better at not always wearing layers, but it's also kind of my style to like put a jacket on something. But yeah, I've even thought about that on like why I wear layers, or, you know, why I'm embarrassed about a period. Like,
Yeah.
why would I be embarrassed about something that literally helps recreate the world?
Every month. I am working when you're not working, sir. I'm working 2 jobs.
2 jobs.
I'm trying to populate the world when I don't want to, and I'm also just trying to run the world because I want to. So I don't know what else you want for me to do, but I do think that, you know, I used to struggle having these conversations with some of my Christian friends because I knew that some people just didn't think the way that I thought. They didn't understand why I felt like I wanted to be liberated in my own body, know my own self, for my own self, not for anybody else. For me, it's mine. And I think it's powerful. And I think that women having these type of conversations are powerful, and having conversations surrounding sexuality are important because we need to own these experiences, because we are sexual beings. And you can become and you are a sexual being before you are having sex with anybody else. You're still a sexual being all on your own. So that's still an individual journey that you're going to have without a partner. And lots of times I think that we validated whether it was sex or not by bringing a man into the picture, and a man never even had to be there to validate the experience from the first part. But he wanted the claim to fame. But we'll get on the patriarchy later. But anyway, that leads me to my next question for you. So what personal challenges have you combated within your own sexuality as a Christian?
So I saw this question and I didn't really know how to answer it. Mainly because I was just thinking about like what I wanted to talk about versus like what the question is. And
answer it how you see fit.
Okay. Battles with sexuality, not really understanding what sex was, but exposed to it. And I guess that's just more so sex. And I think also like not understanding like this feeling that you get when your body is aroused, or understanding what the vagina was, but that was kind of later on. But I think my first encounter with like understanding like this body does stuff was probably when I was like 5, 6, 7. And seeing sex and maybe being exposed to something that I'm not sure that I was ready to see, which is porn. So I'm not sure that I was able to process like, oh, what is this? What are they doing? Oh, well, and I think that's what are they doing? Let me try. Let me figure out what this is. And
so just sex in itself was the challenge. The whole introduction was the challenge.
Yeah. The introduction to like, what is this? And I don't necessarily remember like the first moment of when I saw it, but like I remember having glimpses of magazines and videos and like seeing those things and being curious and being like, and I never had a conversation with my parents about it. Because somewhere in my brain, that's not something that I'm supposed to see. So
and so who did you talk to about it?
Nobody. Well, no, I didn't talk to anybody about like me finding stuff.
Because you know how some kids will find something and they show somebody else, or maybe their friends showed them or their cousin showed them. You just found this and you just like kept it to myself, but I'm just curious about it.
Yep.
So how long how long did you keep that curiosity within yourself?
Now up until these recent years, I guess. Because
Really?
I'm not sure if I really ever had a conversation with anybody to say like, yeah, I found porn at my house and looked at it, and then somehow connected the feeling in my body to, like you said, you don't have to be taught that this feeling in my body, the things that I do, put those two together. I don't have to be taught that. I figure it out. Like if I touch it, or if I rub up against something, if I hump something, this makes me feel good. What is that? I don't know. Let's just keep going.
So did you find that these experiences shaped any of your own sexual journey as an adult?
Yes. So like, me seeing all of that, and I don't know when it evolved, but I became sexually attracted to women. I didn't want to be in relationships with them, but I literally was just, and honestly, it was just like porn type of things.
Yeah.
So like fantasy, yeah. So like anything that I would look up would be two females. So I also I never talked to my friends about it, but when I was in 7th or 8th grade, we used to watch porn together. Not really actual, well, you know, the channels, the high channels that had like those channels.
Yeah, the
we would be on the
500s. Listen, we ain't had that many channels back then. Now everybody, their channels are going up into the
thousands. Yeah,
we didn't have that many.
We
So
have all that.
In the 150s, 200s, you are high on the list.
Yeah. So we were in the like 500 channels, and you know, once you get up there, and my dad had a code on the TV.
Yes, the code.
But I just put the code in. I'm like, the code that they use for everything, I put it in. I was like, yeah, guys, I'm watching it, and we would watch the show together, and then like quote unquote make fun of it. And like the sounds that they were making, because half of them was like fake sounds.
Right.
Stupid. But like I wasn't telling them like, yeah, this is arousing me, but I'm watching it, and then, you know, I get off the phone with them and do my thing. Yeah. So it's more so that my introduction, my sexual journey, and I didn't honestly tell someone about like that. The first person I told, because this was like, when I say a deep secret, this was a like deep rooted, I'm not gonna talk to anybody about it. I didn't talk to God about, well, God, I knew God knew about it, and I would feel shame. Like,
what part did you feel shame about?
I felt shame about like doing it and then trying to repent and then falling into it again.
Doing it as in watching the porn or
like masturbating?
Okay.
Yeah. So masturbating, and then yeah, it was. This is weird because I wasn't actually like, I didn't feel shame about the type I was watching. I just felt shame that I knew that this is not something that God wants me to do. So, and it specifically watching really any kind of porn. It don't really matter if it's lesbian or homosexual or heterosexual. It didn't matter. I think that's the part that I felt more ashamed about, but was like, it was kind of like a routine for me. And like I would go shorts. It was an addiction, really. I would go short spurts of not doing it, and then I would get into it, and then I would stop. Right. Then I would go another short spurt of not doing it, and then fall into it, and it would just be this cycle. But I never talked to anybody about it. I never told anybody about it up until a relationship that I had in college. And you said what?
How did that go?
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. So I was coming back from a like family vacation, and I cannot remember how we even got on the subject. But I would just remember being at my parents' house. I was in the basement. I was sitting on our back door, like I was laying on the door or sitting down on the floor and laying on the door. And I just remember sitting in the dark, and I decided that I was going to tell him my deepest, darkest secret.
Mm-hmm.
And I contemplated, like, do I tell this man this secret? And now I didn't even think that it would get the response that it did. I just but I was still scared of talking about it because I had never talked about it to anybody. And I told him, and he got really silent. And I was like, hello?
Yeah.
Hello? And then he tried to break up with me. And I was like, huh? So I went in to like immediate like fight or flight kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
how can we save this? How can we like solution? How can we save this relationship? What can we do? So I remember being on the phone with him, and then somehow we got off the phone, and I can't remember if like we got off the phone and we were broken up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I think that was like we got off the phone, and then since we were coming back from a family vacation, I was like, I'm going to Nashville. Mind you, I'm in Atlanta.
Wow.
I am, how old am I? Like 22, 23.
Okay. Young.
Yes. I was either 22 or 23. And I'm like, I'm in Atlanta with my parents. I'm like, nope, I'm going to Nashville. I go upstairs. I tell my sister, hey, I'm going to Nashville. I'll call you in the morning. I didn't tell my parents.
Yeah.
I just got my bag that was already packed because I hadn't
not to tell your
it.
parents. You knew
Yeah,
better.
because I wouldn't have been able to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, and didn't tell you what time it was. This was 11 o'clock at night.
Okay. And you getting on the road for a 4-hour trip.
For a 4-hour trip in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And so I get in the car, I put my stuff in the car, and I drive up there.
So how was your experience as you drove up there? Because all I could think of, and we kind of talked about this before, is just being in such a vulnerable position and not really getting an opportunity to deal with your vulnerability, but in turn having to consume someone else's at that time. How did you feel, if you remember, on that drive up there? Like, what were your thoughts?
So this has kind of been a journey, like a personal journey for me, on recognizing my own emotions, my own feelings, my own like Maya, it's okay to think about what you're going through and not have to always pay attention to others or say, okay, Maya, your feelings don't matter. Just let them, you're good. It's okay. That's what I have. I had a tendency of doing that. And that's something that I worked on. So honestly, in that car ride, all I thought about was, okay, how am I going to fix this?
Yeah.
There wasn't a Maya, you need to, it was just like, all right, I'm going up there. I'm gonna find a solution. We're gonna talk about it. It's gonna be good. I totally like ignored my emotions. Like totally ignored about how I was feeling, what like, and I don't even know that I can say that I suppressed them. It's like it was like an evaporation of like, nope, this doesn't matter. And I realized that I do that I did that with a lot of things, which is why I have to sit back and say, okay, Maya, how do you feel about this? What are your thoughts? Like I have to ask myself questions so that I can come to a conclusion an authentic place, a vulnerable place, so I can be honest with myself.
Yeah.
Because if I can't be honest with myself, I can't be honest with God. I can't be honest with other people. I can't be vulnerable with other people.
Right.
Like, it's not possible. So just to answer your question, that drive was just like, all right, what are we gonna say? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna call him? What is the solution? And it sucks to say that, because it's like I didn't care about myself.
I think we've all been there. I think
Yeah.
that's a point that we all have either are trying to evolve from, or are evolving from, or have evolved from time and time again, because I think that we get to know ourselves over and over again, and we are in relationship and fall out of relationship and in relationship with ourselves over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that that's relatable, and there's no shame in it.
Yeah. But it just, like, looking back, it's like, man, I wonder how it would be if I actually cared about, like, hey, no, listen to me. Like,
Yeah.
this is not something that, because I think how he felt was that he wasn't going to be able to please me
Right.
because that's what I thought about, or that's what I was into, or but it wasn't something that I was trying to stay in. I was like, no, I've been praying about this. Like, this is not something that I'm just like, yes, this is the only thing, this is the right thing for me.
Right.
It was something that I recognized was like, hey, I know that this is, for me, a spirit of lust. It's not necessarily has to do anything with me actually being attracted to women. It's literally just sexual lust, or just me, because literally once I got done with the porn, I was like, okay, well, I'm finished. I don't want to watch it anymore. I wasn't interested. It was like a dude, like when dudes have sex with women, or even females do the same thing.
It
Like,
happens. Put the money
it
on the
happens.
nightstand and roll.
Once you're just like, okay, I got what I want.
You good?
Yeah, sorry, I gotta figure out where you are now. Where'd you go?
I'm right here.
There you are. Sorry, my computer start. I need to.
I lose people all the time. I always lose my coworkers. They're just like, "Can you share your screen?" I was like, "I'm gonna lose you. I have a lot of tabs up. I'll find you. Just give me a minute."
I was like, oh, because my friend Abrilia was calling me. But yeah, so what was I saying?
I think you were just talking about, his insecurities, like,
Oh yeah,
having to cater to what he was struggling with.
yeah, he struggled with the idea that he wouldn't be able to please me in that area. And I again, really, I was like, no, it's fine. This is not something that I want, which it wasn't. But I think it also took a toll on him,
Yeah.
because we ended up getting back together, but I think it also took a toll on him because we also then stopped having sex.
Yeah.
Because of the conviction of, like, you know what, we shouldn't be having sex in the first place. So let's just go
Yeah.
ahead and stop this. So I think that also kind of took a toll on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, this journey of learning about sex and sexuality, and like the seed being planted of not of this is what sex looks like.
Yeah.
And even like this fantasy thing, because I've actually recently realized that when you said it before, but I have like this fantasy issue too.
Mm.
um
Is it
of
fantasy or romanticizing?
Maybe I over romanticize things, in hopes that this dreamy thing will happen.
Dreamy
That is
things do happen, though, sis. They do.
and yes, you are right. Dreamy things do happen. But when you do it often, it's kind of like, all right,
The
now.
dreams become reality.
Yes. And the thought patterns start to kind of take over what you're thinking. So you start dreaming up everything, and you start being okay with, like, I've been struggling inside of myself with, like, am I actually okay with being by myself, or am I attaching myself to this romantic idea that I'm satisfied with this romantic idea, so I won't let reality come to me? Because like, the man that I'll be with isn't going to be like this perfect platter person where it's like, you got the biggest shrimp and all the fixings on your plate. You got, everything that you want. All my favorites. I got all my favorites on the plate. I got plantains, and I got fried. I got I got wings.
These are all the things you really love to eat, by the way.
Yeah. Huh?
You hungry, sis?
No, I'm not. But I'm just thinking about all the things that I like really, really like. And I'm like, I've been wanting some plantains for.
I know. Listen, when you said plantains, I was like, no, these are things she actually likes. We've driven around looking for plantains. I know she likes these things.
Favorites. OMG, a favorite. I do have some. I actually end up not getting wings, but I got chicken tenders. But yeah, but like, over romanticizing what this next man will be like. But I think it kind of stems from me, where the kind of seed was planted in my youth about sexuality and the type of person I'm going to be with, and all of these things. And it's funny how I've like come to realization. It's like, I never really thought that could, like, having this over romantic idea could come from that. So,
and to be fair, and not to give all the credit to the porn either, we grew up in a context where Cinderella, all of these princesses, our society has really built us to be conditioned to want to be rescued by men, even to the point where women haven't always been able to vote, to work. That was our reality for a greater portion of our lives. Women being able to vote is only 50 years old. We're not that far in history than we think that we are.
True.
So that world, that ideology also created porn. That ideology also created systems. And so that is all in the same. All in the same. The society itself produced this over romanticized idea that men we're trophies. And let me not say this, I am not men bashing. I love men. I love the men in my life. But we do know that women have been disenfranchised, especially when it comes to Christianity, and that we don't get a lot of permission to be our full selves. And, we are scrutinized for so many different things. It's not even funny. But at the same time, we are, the carriers of these traditions of Christianity, and making sure that men are led to Christ and, passed down from generation to generation, from grandma to grandma. You know what I mean? So,
and that's a whole nother conversation, because that was my life, like, trying to pull someone into this, like, hey, please come to church with me, and getting frustrated from it, and being okay with the idea of, like, this is potential, and living with potential. And it's like, it's okay. I can create them and carve them. And it's like, no, if you don't like the person that you're with right now,
present day,
that's not the person that you need to be with.
Because what happens if they never evolve?
What happens if they never change? They never. I had that realization though. I had to have that come to Jesus moment of, like, you know what? This is just, and which is like one of the reasons my ex and I we broke up, is because I came to realization. I think both of us came to realization of, like, you know what? This is probably not for us right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It is.
And that's okay.
It's perfectly okay. So let me ask you this too. What's your biggest lesson from that experience? Like what stuck with you?
The experience of telling someone, or
Both, all of it. What have you taken
um
from, having this experience? What is the biggest thing that you take with you? You wanted to have the conversation, so it must have imprinted something in you. What was it? What is that takeaway?
um I want to learn how to the experience. Well, okay, I'll answer this. The first thing that came to mind is the reason I wanted to have this conversation is because I'm trying to learn to be more vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
in my life. Um, what I have learned from the experience is to be more aware of of how things are planted in my life. So like what I listen to, what I watch, who I listen to, um, because those are the things that shape who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and can for me be the seeds that the enemy might be trying to plant for me,
Yeah.
that I might be watering and I don't even realize that I'm watering them. Or there was like a little seed over here and I'm
Yeah.
watering it by looking at this. Or like I have to be so careful
Yeah.
with the types of music I listen to. Like I love 90s R&B.
Listen, everybody, the world does. Every time I'm going to another country, Mary J. Blige. We don't even listen to her in the States, in all the states.
But I love it. But they talk about sex so doggone much. I have to
We're even
like.
gonna tie it to our 90s R&B. We're gonna give it to our parents' R&B. They're the ones who started it. They
That's
started it.
true. But I'm saying, but what I like to listen to
Mm-hmm.
is 90s R&B. And I just be like, "Dang, I got to change this song, but I really like this song, but I need to change," because if I'm in a vulnerable state, I
Yeah.
know that might impress them. And I'm like, nope, I have to change the song. So like people
Yeah.
might think I'm trying to be extra Christian when I'm listening to music, but it's like I'm not trying to be extra Christian. I just understand the like what happened if I listen and continuously listen to it. I know what happens in my life, and I don't want to fall back into that. And that's just me personally. I'm not convicting nobody else. I love love 90s R&B. Like love it. But sometimes I can't listen to it. And that same thing goes for like movies
Yeah.
and like sex scenes. And it's like I have to guard my heart from things like that because this mind starts to get working. And it's like,
I think the
backtrack.
colloquialism that people will use is called protecting your energy. I think what you're doing is protecting your energy.
There you go. I'm protecting my energy.
Yeah, for those who
Because
may not be able to associate it with the Christian terminology, we're just
yes,
protecting our energy.
protecting my energy. And yeah, that's what I'm doing
Yeah,
because I don't want to have to go back and be like, okay, I got to,
yeah.
okay, let me figure out how to, okay, Jesus, give me some wisdom on what do I need to do? It's too much. It's too much. And if I've already done the work, why get myself into a position where I got to do the work all over again? It's like weight loss, even
Right.
though I still haven't gotten that one down yet.
It's back and forth. It's a
It's back
relationship.
and
You go back
forth.
and forth.
It's like you lose the weight and then you like, well, I guess I could have a cookie. And
Or
then
a pandemic or an uprising.
and you get stuck in the house and you like,
That'll make me eat.
let me get a cookie. And then the next thing you like, well, I can have a little ice cream, right?
I
Next
can eat
thing
it.
you know, you eating all the carbs and the and chips, and you just snacking on everything. And next thing you know, you done gained 10 pounds, and you like, whoa, where did it come
Because
from?
you learned how to make all the stuff during the quarantine.
But that's why you have to, guard your heart and
Yes.
make better decisions. So
we're all a work in progress, though. I'm one step away from the cookie jar after we hang up today, but that's okay. Because we'll talk about that. Like I was gonna say, I still haven't eaten. I said I would eat dinner before. Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Gotcha.
Didn't happen. So I wanted to know now, how does this experience, has it impacted your relationship with God? And if so, how?
Impacted my relationship with God. That was the question. I was like, that was the question I saw. I was like, I don't know. I think because of the experience, it has allowed me to understand how to be more honest with him with every thought that I have.
Yeah.
Like the conversations that I have with God now is not like, oh God, I'm so sorry, I'm blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, look, God, this is the thought that I had. And this is how it resulted in that. And this is why I feel that way. And this is what came up. What do you think about it? And then I allow him to answer. So I think it's having that like turmoil, and I don't have, because not to say I don't have the temptation anymore, of like lust. I don't necessarily have the temptation of wanting to watch porn.
Yeah.
But we get horny. We get aroused. Like it happens. And it's not that doesn't happen, but like when it happens, I'm more conscious of like, okay, all right, I'm in this place. I start having a conversation with God, like, hey, buddy, you said that you help a sister out. I need that right now. Right now. I need it right now because right now. Show up. But let me see, how else has it impacted my relationship with God? Before I say I didn't feel as close to him, or I felt like he was angry with me all the time. Like I felt like every time I would get into that situation that he was just angry, he was upset, he hated me, he was, like when parents tell you like they're disappointed.
Yeah.
Like deep disappointment of like, God, I know you disappointed in me. That's how I felt. But as I've grown in my relationship with him, and more so understanding my identity in him, and understanding like who he created me to be, and that he wants me to have those conversations with him, I've become more confident. Like if I do fall into it, if I do masturbate, if it does happen, because I can't tell you that it hasn't happened since, like me masturbating. I can't tell you that it has just I haven't fallen into it. But I understand how to have the conversation with God to say, okay, God, how do I move forward from this? How do I, this is what I was feeling. This is what I was doing. What do I need to do differently next time to make sure that I don't fall into that? Yeah. Or, whatever. That was vulnerable. Wow. Sorry, God. That was weird. I was like, oh, wow, I'm really saying this. Okay. This is actually happening. Okay. Honestly, because I don't want people to think that I'm like perfect. Like,
well,
that would be a false.
I don't even think that this experience makes you imperfect. I think it makes you human, and I think it makes you just a little bit more authentic, if anything. I don't think it is a blemish for you. I think that if anything, it just highlights the human aspect of your life, because I think that we come to these safe spaces where we put God in and we deliberately leave certain things out of it. And it's just like, well, how can you bring God here if all of your things aren't here? He knows everything. I think I had a friend who was praying once and said that he had gotten upset because he started to curse during his prayers. And he was like, I felt really bad. And I was like, God, he cursed any other time?
Oh, what you mean?
You're not hiding anything. You can't hide from him. So you are already perfect in his eyes. So even with you explaining your own experiences, that doesn't make you that doesn't blemish you. You still are perfect in his eyes. And nothing about you is imperfect. You're a human. And as a human, like you said, we all have these experiences. There is no shame. You know, there is no condemnation in Christ.
Right.
It's none. None.
It's true.
None.
I think because we end up condemning ourselves or believing the lie that we aren't enough, or God doesn't love us. Or I read a comment from a girl that was somewhere, I forgot, but it was like, I know God hates me. And I was like, no, he doesn't. He does not hate you. He loves you more than anything. And granted, he may not want you to do what you did, but he does not hate you. He doesn't like the sin, but he absolutely loves each and everything about you. There is nothing that you could do. And I'm saying this, and every time I heard the saying, there's nothing that you could do that could tear you away from the love of God, I understand that so much now. There is absolutely nothing that you could do. You could have sex, get drunk, get high, be prideful about something, be jealous of somebody, all in the same day, and God gonna still say, I love you, daughter, I love you, son.
Well, here's the thing. We wake up sinners. We naturally sin because we need God. We need him. If we were without sin, why would we need him?
True.
We have to call back to him. We have to be imperfect so that we know at every moment we are humble. Every moment we are humble, because you can't do this life perfectly. You can't. Who are you sending to hell when you didn't cross the street during a yellow light? Or because you ate another cookie, you knew you was only supposed to have 2 cookies. So we are imperfect. And I think that too, sometimes we hear the voice of other people and the lies that other people have told us too. And I think that we can easily confuse what the world says about a particular group and associated with us. And it's just like, 1, you're not supposed to feel that way about this group in the first place. 2, that doesn't belong to none of us. So you're not going to put that on this group or myself, because you have a personal conviction in your heart. It's not a reflection of them or you. It's a reflection of the person who's having the thoughts.
Absolutely. I just saw a TikTok that said she was doing a TikTok, and she was like, it was someone having a conversation with God and said, okay, God, so you said love all people, right? And God was like, yeah, love all people. So what if they're black? And he said, yeah, all people. What if they're gay? And he said, yeah, I said all people. And he's like, well, what if they're Muslim? It's like, I didn't give no stipulations around who to love. I said love everybody.
And that is your greatest commandment of them all. Your job is to love. That's the best job in the world.
It's the best job in the world.
Give love.
Give love. Now, does love look the same everywhere?
Nah.
No. No. Go out and give love. And I think that this is when I think love looks different though, because I think people start they're like, well, tough love. I think love looks different when you have an authentic relationship with someone. Mm-hmm. So you and I, love might look different to us, because I might have permissions to say things to you that other people don't have the permission to say. So that is me loving you well. Right. Because it would be not loving you well if I didn't do that. Right. So I think that's where love looks different. it's not when you get into a relationship with people, it's not always like kicks and giggles. Hey, yeah. I think that's kicks and giggles when you maybe don't really know that person. But when you get into authentic relationship, and always making sure that it comes from a place of like, God, is this something that you need me to say? Because sometimes we also we want to come from our own heart, and it's like, no, God, I need to come from your heart. What do you want me to say?
Right.
And give me the words so that I can lean on you to say the right thing. But yeah, I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
Well, I have one last question for you.
Oh, another question. Okay.
And this will be my final one.
Okay.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself or anyone else that had a similar experience to yours? Maybe you talked to Maya that night driving in the car who didn't think about what was about to happen. What would you tell that girl?
First thing that came to mind is like, do you know who you are? Do you know who God created you to be? Do you know that you are made in his image, and that the things that are on your heart are the things that he cares about? And I will probably be so confused. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you saying this to me? This has absolutely nothing to do with why I'm going to Nashville, but it has everything to do with why you're going to Nashville. Because you are so precious. And the thing that you're doing is saying, I don't matter. You are yelling, I don't matter to yourself. And you have to stop yelling it at yourself. Because it is even the reason you are in the relationship. And do you realize that maybe God is trying to get you out of this relationship because it's not the relationship that you're supposed to be in the first place? So I would tell myself, because I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from God is my identity, who I am, how much he loves me. And there's nobody in this entire world that could tell me that God doesn't love me the way that he does, that he doesn't speak, that he's not real. Like, you can't tell me that because of the experience that I've had with him. So yeah, I would probably tell someone that you have to know your identity in Christ, because I think that's like the beginning of anything. Like somebody, it's the beginning of everything, and it's the stem of how a lie could be planted in your life. Like if you don't know who you are, then lies could just be thrown at you and you believe anything.
Stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Absolutely. So
you'll fall for anything.
That's what I would tell myself, and that's what I would tell anybody else, because that's where I am. That's what I believe now. And man, if that little girl knew what I know now, man, shoot, man,
sleeping peacefully in Atlanta, waking up to get some lemon pepper wings.
And being like, okay, God, well, heard you. Let's do this thing. Let's keep on going. Yes, lemon pepper wings, because those are my favorite.
Honey lemon pepper wings are my favorite. When I started living in Atlanta, the honey lemon pepper. Let's not go there. I think I'm getting hungry.
I'm so done.
But yeah, I appreciate you for being open, being vulnerable. Even catching yourself in the moment, which is hilarious, by the way. I always just think it's funny. It's almost like when a comedian makes himself laugh. To catch themselves in that moment, to have that outer body experience. To be like, is this me that just said that?
Right. Am I saying this? I'm going to go ahead and say it. And I was actually telling myself, stop. I was like, nah, let's keep on going.
But you never know who that was for. And if God was speaking for you too. So I feel honored for you to let me interview you in one of your vulnerable states. And I'm glad that you feel safe with me, because I feel safe with you too.
Yay! This is so awesome, guys. Well, guys, I hope that y'all got something from this. Thank you, Quiana. You're amazing. I love you.
I
Thank
love
you for
you.
asking me all of these wonderful questions and making me think. Um, so I was about to say something else, but that was going to turn into a whole new conversation. So thanks, guys. I love you. I hope you got something from this, and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Guys, thank you so much for coming to watch. If you want to get notifications for the videos, remember to click down there on the bell button. You will get notifications for our videos. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please share with anyone that you think might benefit from this information. Remember that just as honey is sweet to the taste, wisdom is sweet to the soul. Now get out there and be great.